we've got all of this set up, and it's ready to render out for us. So we're going to talk about the process of actually getting these images out of Maya into just into as image sequences. So we've got basically, I forgot we've got animation on the ball. The ball's just kind of moving up and down. That doesn't really matter. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. So I've got no animation on the lights, no animation on the camera, the ball moving around. That's fun. I'm happy with that. Now, one of the things that we want to get here is we're going to set up the render. Okay, so right here, there's a little set of clapboards right up here. That's what they're called from old movie making days, a long time ago. If you click on the one that's got the gear wheel, that is render settings. And so I want you to click on that, and this is going to come up. And so we've got everything that's kind of ready to go out here. There's a couple things I want you to click on, and you're going to go to this AOVs tab. And there are a few that we wanted. There's a few different things that we wanted to render out for us. Okay, we want RGBA, that's red, green, blue, and alpha, and I'll get into what all that means. But just go ahead and select that one, and then hit the little double arrows going this way. It's going to add it to active AOVs. I believe AOV stands for area of value. That's just, we're going to do a bunch here. Okay, so there's that. We're going to go to diffuse, which is basically color minus specularity. We're going to add that. And we're going to go to specular also right here. Going to add that. Okay, so we're just telling you that we specifically want these to render. Now, one of the things that we're going to render it in a frame type called EXR. EXRs are like JPEGs or PNG files, except for the fact that they can carry a lot more information. So the thing that we want is that all these AOVs that we're going to add to, they're different render layers, basically. We want them all to be contained in one image, okay? So the thing that we have to do is hit merge AOVs right here. And so that's an important thing. And it's right now that as you're starting to set up all the render settings, you realize this is the point at which Maya is actually like flying a 747. There's a ton of little checkboxes, a bunch of little things that need to be handled in order to make sure that everything renders out appropriately. Okay, so so that was one of them. Okay, the second one is we want to make sure that it renders out a sequence of frames. Okay, so as we move down here, you'll see it's name.ext single frame. Well, we want more than a single frame. We want a frame sequence. So we're going to go down to the one right below it, which is name hashtag ext stands for extension. So that would be the extension would be .exr. Okay. So now that I've set that, this whole area up here at the top is lit up, and so it's basically telling you where this is going to go. It's going to go to day sequences, and I'm going to change where this is going to go, and you'll see here in a second. Okay, so I've got that done, and I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to make sure I only really care about 10 frames. I don't need to see all 120 frames. That'll take a minute to render. I don't need it to do that. So this is start frames 1 and frames 10. If you want to render more, have at it. I don't really care. That's it's just more processing time for your machine. The next thing we want to do is what camera do we want to use? Currently, we're only really using the perspective camera. In Maya, you have every opportunity to add more cameras to it to do different things. You can have multiple cameras in a scene and have different angles and whatnot. Right now, we're going to stick with the perspective. The next thing we want to go down to is what size of the frame do we want it to be? Typically speaking, The smallest we're going to be working with is 1920 by 1080. That's pixels, 1920 across by 1080 high. That's basically the aspect ratio of your laptop. Your laptop screen essentially is what that is. So we're going to go and click on this preset here, and we're going to go down to HD 1080. So that is for an older flat screen television, the HD 1080 would have been the aspect ratio. Newer TVs are now at 4K, which is like a lot more pixels. So we're going to have that set up like that. Okay, so one of the things that I said that I was going to do was I wanted to make sure that everything is rendering in the appropriate spot. I actually had something else in here before, but in a previous video, we talked about how to set that up. So if you remember, we're going to go up here to File. We're going to go to Project Window. Okay, and mine's already set up, but I just want to tell it to go to a different images folder. So I'm just going to say Images, and I'm going to put it into. We created a light test folder, so I'm going to just stick it in here. I'm going to make an images folder in there. Okay, and it's going to render these images into that folder. And I'm going to hit select, and now it's going where I want it to be. I'm going to hit accept, and you'll now see that the path where it's sending it to is our R drive, class project, 2022 fall day, sequences, my name, light test, images, and that's where it's going to be saving those frames. Okay, so I'm going to hit close. And now I'm going to tell this thing to render. Okay, so in order for that to happen, you have to switch. There's a drop-down menu over here on the left, and we've been pretty much defaulted to our modeling menu. But if I want you to click the little down arrow, and you'll see that there's a menu for rigging and animation and effects, etc. But the one we care about right now is rendering. Okay, so you click on that, and you'll see that the entire menu set changed to the very, very top here. The one that we care about is render. So we're going to click on that. And then we're going to go down here to render sequence. And right here next to it is this little box here. It's called the options box. So go ahead and click that. And when you click that, the options come up. And so we just want to make sure that it's doing what we want it to do. So basically it's telling us it's going to render a sequence of frames 1 to 10. Again, it's your choice if you want it to be 1 to 100, whatever, it's your CPU time. Whatever camera we care about it, and like we had talked about, it's going to be perspective. And then that's it. Now, as long as you've got it saved, as long as you've got your lights set up the way you want them to be, as long as you've got your file path set up to where it's going to render these frames to, then it should be good to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to say render sequence and close. Now, sometimes Maya takes a minute to figure itself out. Oh, it's actually, yeah, it's prepping itself right now. I don't actually know if the window is going to open or not. So, no, okay, it's actually rendered. I can see that it's telling me right here at the bottom that it's now rendering frame 2. It's just not showing me the window of the rendering like it did before, and that's fine. So we're gonna let it render through, and when it's done, you should have frames in that folder that you selected. So if you don't, I would advise you to come back, take a look at this video again, and just kind of go step by step through to make sure that you've set things up the way they're supposed to be set up.
If you're enjoying our free content, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, head on over to DMI.edu to learn more about our online courses, where you can grow even more into the techniques professionals use today. We don't just teach software, we teach industry. Be sure to learn more at DMI.edu.